What up, YouTube? Welcome to my 100 subscriber special. I realize that this is a little bit more like a 500 subscriber special at this point, but you gotta cut me some slack. I haven't really been able to record anything this month because I've been pretty sick, and in addition to that, December happens to be the busiest time of year for my job, and my days have pretty much consisted of going to work, forcing myself to work out after work, and then going to sleep. Throw in a handful of errands that absolutely had to get done, like grocery shopping, and you pretty much have my whole month right there. But enough about that. I'm really excited because it was about a year ago that I put out my first video game review. So that means that this 100 subscriber special is also my 1 year anniversary of doing video game reviews. Now, the first video I put out was Super Mario 64, and I have a tradition of 100% completing it at least once a year, usually about this time of year. So I thought it would be fun to celebrate 1 year of video game reviews by reviewing something called Render 96, a fan-made PC port of Super Mario 64. If you're as old as me, you might remember how instruction manuals, guidebooks, and promotional material would sometimes use computer models that would never run on the system for the game it's showing as its presentation. Super Mario 64 was no exception. As a kid, I sometimes used to stare at these pictures wondering why the actual game couldn't look like this. After all, if they could animate Mario to look like this in a milk commercial, why couldn't he look like this in the game? I guess someone out there felt the same way because that's where Render 96 comes into play. I'm not going to go over the process of how to set up Render 96 on your computer. There's guides online to do that, but once you do get it set up, this is the first thing you'll see.
It's me, Mario! Hello!
Now, this probably isn't a big deal for those of you who didn't grow up with Super Mario 64, but for those of you who did, you remember what a revolutionary thing it was to just play around with Mario's head first thing in the third dimension. And so if you're seeing this for the first time, you know what a treat you're in for. I mean, look, just look at it. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. Mario moves just as he did back in '96, but in such beautiful polygony. I mean, just look at that resolution. Look at that castle. Look at the grassy fields, the snow, the sand, the water, the sky, the turtles in all their glory. Oh, dear God. It's so beautiful. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. It's just, oh God, it's just, it's so beautiful. He walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies. And all that's best of dark and bright meet in his aspect ratio of 4:3, or optionally 16:9 or 21:9 depending on your monitor, thus mellowed to that tender light of high dynamic range, emulated or actual depending on your monitor, which Nintendo to gaudy day denies. This might all sound really dramatic, but I mean, come on. Just look at it. I mean, just look at it. I'm having freaking epiphanies just looking at the thing. It's blowing my mind, man. My life is being changed just looking at this thing. In addition to looking incredible, this thing actually feels exactly like the original. To a T, I mean. When I first started playing, I used a Razer controller, but I found out that you can connect your Switch Online N64 controller to your PC using Bluetooth, and yeah, the familiarity here is impeccable. One thing I will say is that I do feel like Bob-omb Battlefield seems kind of dark. This is a very bright level in the original game, but here it just feels overcast, even though it isn't. Now, if you use ray tracing, which is something you can do in this game, it gets much brighter, but my computer can't quite handle ray tracing very well, so that'll have to be saved for another time. But yeah, this whole game looks absolutely amazing. I mean, compared to the original. Not only does it provide texture where there was none in the original game, like in the walls and on the floor, but it also adds cool little details that weren't there before. Like, just look at Jolly Roger Bay. It's got these cool statues up above, and when you swim into the cave, you've got these lantern lights and glowing blue mushrooms that add to the atmosphere. The game also added in beta characters to the levels, including this weird guy that throws you like the purple circle guy, these lava dragons, and small ice bullies that you have to knock into the cold water to defeat. Admittedly, the addition of the beta characters is the one thing I actually don't care for. They just feel out of place. Some games you look at the beta stuff and wish it were there, but the team that worked on Mario 64 really knew what jived together well and what didn't. Much better than most other teams in the mid-90s in my opinion. I have to give a shout out to the audio as well, especially after having played the Mario 3D All-Stars version of this game. The resolution was improved in that version, but I swear the music was left equally compressed, which felt a little jarring. Here the music sounds genuinely uncompressed, or at least noticeably less compressed, and pun intended, it's music to my ears. In addition to all this, there's one more truly notable thing about this port. As you play through the game, you'll come across keys and giant coins. Collecting all of these unlocks Luigi and Wario as playable characters. At first this seems pretty cool and, okay, it is pretty cool, but to be honest I just don't enjoy playing them as much. Luigi can jump higher, but he's delayed when trying to do a flip jump, which can cause serious issues in later levels. So where his playstyle made most classic Mario games easy mode, he's more like a hard mode here. Then Wario does this running punch thing if you hit the B button while moving, which is also cool, but Bowser becomes much harder because Wario won't grab his tail when doing this move. So you actually have to run up to his tail and then let go of the control stick completely to grab the tail, which is harder than it sounds. That being said, I had to check if playing as these characters made any changes to the game. For the majority of it doesn't, but if you beat the game as Luigi, Peach actually changes her dialogue to address Luigi.
And it's all thanks to you. Thank you, Luigi. We have to do something special for you. Let's bake a delicious cake. For Luigi.
So of course I had to try the same thing with Wario. Hilariously, she literally won't say Wario's name. She only says you.
It's all thanks to you. Thank you. Let's bake a delicious cake. For you.
Besides all that, I really don't know what else to say. I don't think I'll ever go back to playing original Mario 64 again. If you have a beefy enough PC, definitely give the ray tracing on this a shot. Or if you don't, just watch someone else play it because it's really worth it, especially when playing as Metal Mario. I wish I could show you that, but man, is it cool. The only glitches I ran into personally are the eyeballs not rendering correctly, and when you collect a star, it messes up the music, which only matters when you collect a 100 coin star and keep playing in the same level. Other than that, I would honestly call this game peak perfection. Well, and there you have it. Happy 1-year anniversary to my channel. I had a really good time this year and I'm looking forward to see what we can do with this channel next year. I'm looking forward to doing more nostalgia reviews next year, but I'm also really looking forward to doing more modern game reviews, especially anything that's really meta or philosophical in general. You know, definitely my favorite game that I played for the channel this year had to be Frambo, and Little Misfortune wasn't too far behind that. I mean, I enjoyed the other stuff, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I want to play more stuff like that. And looking at the numbers and the likes for all the videos I put out, I'd say you guys feel the same way. So yeah, let's check out some more stuff like that. If any of you have any recommendations for stuff like that, hey, please leave it in the comments below. And while we're at it, one more thing. I think we need a thing for this channel. You know, like I'm feeling like I am going to hit the 1,000 subscriber mark at some point. I'm feeling pretty confident about that. I think I'm going to get a YouTube partnership going at some point, you know, someday. And we need a thing. You know, you guys need a title or something. You know, like Game Grumps has Lovelies, PewDiePie had his Brofist Army or whatever it was. We need something. And I want you guys to throw recommendations out in the comments below because I don't want to just pick something off the top of my head and then turns out it sucks. And then I'm stuck with that because people latched onto it or something. I want you guys to throw out, yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll get some recommendations and then I'll start a poll or something. We'll see if we can get something cool going on. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble. Didn't really script this part of the video. I think that's obvious. But guys, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video next year. Bye.
Non chiudrai farfallone amoroso, notte giorno di torno girato, delle belle turbando a riposo, ma ci sei tu gino d'amor. Delle belle turbando a riposo, ma ci sei tu